All right. So today we will talk about the application load balancer. Um, in last lecture, we have discussed about the um, classic load balancer, and maybe in future AWS remove this application classic load balancer, right? And but as of now, there is no such kind of announcement. Uh, Now there is another thing which is called the application load balancer. Now, what is application load balancer and how it is different from the classic load balancer? In classic load balancer, if you remember that I mentioned that there will be a load balancer. This is a load balancer, and under that we have associated some EC2 instances, and there is a DNS name which is given to the classic load balancer. And with this DNS name, the traffic is routing to these EC2 instances. Okay, so this is a typical load balancer. Now, as the time changes, right? So there are different uh, programming concept came. Like there is a concept of API, application programming interface, or microservices. Now, what is that? For example, we are using Swiggy application. In the Swiggy application, we do multiple operations like we order the food, then we are doing a payment. So in the backend, basically what is happening? Order is a microservice, one microservice which is called the order. So there is one application, one microservice. Microservice is basically a small application, as the name suggests. Micro means very small, service means application. It's a microservice, okay, which is only uh, made for the uh, order application or order part of the Swiggy application. Okay, so this is one of my application, and I'll name it as order. Right. Now, when you are ordering, it is not only you who is ordering into the Swiggy app. There may be hundreds or thousands of users simultaneously. They are ordering the food, right? So, in that case, one server is not enough for the order. Okay, for deploying that application, which is the order application. So, one server is not enough. We need multiple instances, right? So, now consider this order application. I'll just make it like this. So this this order application or order microservice, I'll say microservice, order microservice. It is basically deployed on multiple servers. Right? So this server, right? Like that, maybe hundred thousands of servers. Same way, when you are doing some other operation in the that food application, it could be payment. You are doing a payment. Now again, you are not the only one who is doing the payment. There are many people simultaneously. They are doing the payment and they are receiving the some notification that your payment is done. So same way, there will be another microservice which is called the payment microservice. Right? Now, this payment microservice is spread across on multiple servers again because to handle the concurrency, it has the multiple servers. Right? I'm just displaying two, but it could be multiple. Now, how we can access our order application? How we can access our payment application? So, these microservices are invoked. We call it, when we are calling these microservices, we named it as invoke. Invoke is the right technical term to say we are executing this microservice. And how you can execute? Consider you want to execute through one application. Swiggy is one application. So Swiggy is one application, and in this application, I'll say slash order. So then it will go to the order application. And if I say Swiggy and slash payment, then it will go and execute or invoke the payment microservice. Okay. So now when I say payment, then it will go to these servers. When I say order, it will go to these servers. Right. So now, but jointly these are one application. This is under Swiggy, right? But we are invoking the services as per our request. Means if we are at step number one where we are ordering, and when we reach to the last step, then we are doing a payment. Now in AWS, AWS is now doing this, doing or helping us to deploy or to invoke these microservices through load balancer. Okay, so what AWS ALB is doing? So this is a load balancer first of all. Load balancer job is same. It will manage the traffic on or distribute the traffic on multiple EC2 instances. Now this ALB, in short we call it ALB, classic load balancer, CLB, ALB. So here what it does, it creates some target groups. Okay, so what it is doing? It is creating some target group. So one target group he will create for the order. And in order, whatever the microservice servers where these order application is deployed, it basically register those instances. So I will just mark it with a different color. Right? So it will register all the EC2 instances which are pointing to order microservices. Right? Now, what we will do? Consider this application load balancer is having one DNS name. So, application load balancer will have the DNS name, which can be internal or internet facing. Means if you want to access publicly, or you want to access within the VPC. Okay. So here the application load balancer will have the DNS. Now, if I say DNS slash, okay, and my target group, which is order. Okay. So then this is called routing. It is routing to order microservices servers. And when it reaches to here, when it reaches to this target group, then under target group, there are some set of servers. And this will decide, right, that the request should go to the server which is having less traffic, right? That is the purpose. Means the request or the traffic should be equally distributed on all the system. In background, there is some algorithm is running for that. Same case for the payment. Now there will be what? One more target group, right? So here there is one more target group, and that target group for payment, right? And now this is also associated with this application load balancer. And application load balancer, if you say DNS slash payment, then it will go to this target group, and whatever the instances which are associated with this target group, so those are basically means the traffic will be distributed to, or your request goes to those servers. Okay, one of the server. Is this point clear? Right. Now, the other thing is that health check. Right. Consider one of the EC2 instances. So these are the EC2 instances. Consider one of the EC2 instances down. Then request will not go to that server. So it check the health, right? Health of our EC2 instances. Health means it will have a few things for the health check. Number one, it will go and check means consecutive maybe 3 or 4 requests that we can configure, and it will say okay 4 times if I go and if I receive the proper output, means ping command output, so it means everything is fine, right? So that is that means that is basically the health check. If it does not receive any response, then it means the particular EC2 instance is unhealthy. All right. So that is the overall concept of application layer. Now, application layers work on OSI model in the application layer. Do you know OSI model? So OSI model is basically it is the network model where we are having 7 layers. The last layer is physical layer, and that sorry means you can say first layer is physical layer and last layer is application layer. Okay, layer number 7. Session we have presentation layer, session layer, right? Transport layer, network layer, right? So application load balancer works on the application layer. Okay, so in the OSI model, it works on the uh, application layer, and it application layer is responsible for presentation layer, and application layer is also responsible for the session layer, right? So so that is the overall idea of the application load balancer. What we will do, we will just see today only the theoretical part, and in next lecture we will see the practical implementation of that. So what we will do, we will go to the AWS documentation and we will read about the application load balancer. Or let me just show you here. Let me go to Chrome and if I say application load balancer in AWS. Right. So okay, I'll, I'll going here. So here you can see application load balancer, elastic load balancer. Why we call elastic? Because it can grow and it can, shrink as per the request which is coming to the uh, number of requests which are coming to the application load balancer. So all the load balancer comes under ELB, elastic load balancer. Okay, so if someone asks what is ELB, so it is the elastic load balancer, classic load balancer, application, network, gateway load balancer, all comes under this the ELB. Automatically distribute your incoming traffic across the multiple targets such as EC2 instances, containers, IP addresses. So I have given you the example of the EC2 instances, but it can have the container, Docker containers, and the IP addresses in one or more availability zone. It monitors the health of the register targets, like order is one target and payment is target, and routes the traffic only to the healthy targets. Right? Elastic load balancing scales your load balancer as your incoming traffic changes over the time. Okay, it will decide internally. You need not to do anything. So AWS will help you to manage the traffic, scale out or scale in accordingly. Elastic load balancing supports following load balancer, application load balancer, network load balancer, gateway load balancer, and classic load balancer. Right? Classic load balancer we have seen so far. So we will focus on this application load balancer in today's lecture. A load balancer that serves as single point of contact for the client. The load balancer distributes the incoming application traffic across the multiple targets, such as EC2 instances in multiple availability zones. This increases the availability of your application. You add one or more listener. Listener means some port number, like port number 80. Uh, Actually, application load balancer, this works on the uh, port number 80 and port number 443. Okay, so HTTP and HTTPS. And the rules, the listener checks the connection request from the client. So in application load balancer, here the application works. Application is Google Chrome is application. Your Outlook is an application. Your Telnet is an application. So whenever you are opening the Google Chrome, so that application is given to you so that you can connect to some website. When you say google.com and press enter, so application layer is basically working on that. Okay, and as I mentioned, application load balancer works on the application layer only using the protocol and port that you configure. Right. So the rules that you define in the listener determine how the load balancer routes the traffic to the register target. So if you say slash orders, it will go to the according to that target group. Each rule consists of priority. Okay, so that we will see, we can set up the priority. We can set one or more actions, one or more conditions. When the conditions for a rule are met, then actions are performed. Okay. So if you say order, rules are met, and whatever the configuration we have done for that rule, according to that. So there are different rules like path-based, and there are some sticky sessions, etc. That we will see in the practical when we will do the practical for this. When the condition of the rule are met, then the actions are performed. You must define default rule for each listener. We need to define one default rule, right? So uh, means if I say without slash order or without slash payment, so it will go by default to the orders. Each target group routes the traffic to one or more registered target, such as EC2 instances, using protocol port number that you specify. You can register a target with the multiple target group. Let me do one thing. Let me just connect to my AWS dot Amazon.com. Okay, let me go to this my account. All right. So now let me connect with my uh, using root email. It is a bit slow today. Okay. So we'll connect with the KMIT Solution Services. Next, and give the password. So here I will just show you that means in application load balancer. Here also it gives you some information about the application load balancer when you select in your AWS. So what I'll do here, I will search for the actually you need to go to the EC2 instance, and here you have the option of the load balancer on the left panel. So here you can see there is a load balancer, and if whenever you are creating the application load balancer, you need to create the target groups. So I will select load balancer. And now if I say create load balancer, and here you can see application load balancer. Now let us see. See, this is a user who is basically hitting to the microservice URL, and it will be HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, two types of protocol. So, but in application layer, you can have multiple protocols like you are having FTP, SMTP, right? So now here there are different ways like you can execute a Lambda. We have not discussed Lambda. It is a serverless approach. We can execute the EC2 instances, right? So now let us read something about here. So you can see, choose a application load balancer when you need a flexible features set for application with HTTP and HTTPS traffic. Okay, so that you need to remember it is for HTTP and HTTPS traffic. Operating at the request level, application load balancer provides the advanced routing and visibility features targeted at the application architectures, including microservices and containers. Microservices are basically implemented as a container in real time, like Docker containers. Okay. So now, as I mentioned before creating that, so what do you think? What will be the first thing we need to do? First, we need to create the EC2 instances, right? So we will deploy our application on that. Okay. So in next lecture, what I will do, I will prepare one EC2 instance or two EC2 instances, one for payment, one for order. And then we will create this application load balancer. But for application load balancer, we also need the target group. If you see here, target group. So when we create a target group, right? So it is asking, do you want for EC2 instances or you are having some specific IP addresses, right? So if specific IP addresses, you can go with Lambda functions. Again, Lambda functions we have not discussed, but this is a serverless approach, which is very useful and very interesting. You can also point to some application load balancer. Okay, so target group is basically pointing to some application, some microservice, right? And application load balancer is also application load balancer. This is kind of a recursion, right? So target group is pointing to application load balancer, and application load balancer pointing to some other target group maybe. Okay, so that also we can do. And right here we need to mention the protocol means HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, here it is also giving means actually target group is not only for application load balancer, we can use it for the network load balancer also. And network load balancer works on TCP, UDP, right? Some other protocols. So that's why it is showing all. But for application, here you can see used with application load balancer, used with, but here it is saying with network load balancer, right? And this IP types and VPC. And we will discuss all this right in our next lecture. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any question? No. All right. All right. So we will meet tomorrow for the next lecture. Thank you. Bye bye.